He's done making chocolate.
Yeah.
I'm going to call
Thanks,
the,
Tom, for that.
I'm going to call the,
You must have done very well for
maybe I
him.
will. I'm going to call the Ravenna City Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for March 31 to order. It's now 7 o'clock, and I'll start with roll call.
All right, Mr. Keyser? Mr. Porcase?
Here.
Dr. Miller?
Present.
Mr. Thomas?
Here?
Mr. Bangditch?
Present.
Mr. Selenius?
Here.
Mr. Barnes?
Here.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to excuse. Jerry called me, he's got food poisoning, he said.
Oh,
And he called me and told me he wasn't going to be here. I don't think he knows how to cook. Actually, that's the problem. You know?
all right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second, okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Okay, roll call. We did. Approval of the minutes, if you'll take a look at those. Tiffany's had those out for some time now. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If there aren't any, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So
Larry,
moved.
is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vince. Remember, if we do roll call on the minutes or not, I don't think we have to, but
All in favor?
all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, under new business, we have, first one up is Chuck Dowdy. And if Chuck's here, I don't have my glasses on, but Chuck, come on up. Okay, Chuck, we need to be formal tonight, so I'm going to swear you in. So raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're giving tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Okay. If you'll state your name, your address, and what it is that you're requesting of the board.
My name is Chuck Dowdy at 535 Sheldon Street in Ravenna, and I'm requesting a variance to an addition to my garage.
Okay?
If you flip on the back of the microphone, there's a little button that
Can you hear me now?
we can hear you.
Okay, so you're asking for variances related to, is this a new garage?
The garage, no, the garage is existing, but I just want to do an addition to it.
Oh, in addition to the garage?
Yeah, to the
Okay.
existing garage.
All right. And it looks like there's 3 variances that need to be reviewed and granted for you to do this. You're proposing a 10-foot sidewall, is that correct?
No, 8 foot.
When did that change?
That was my assumption, but obviously he doesn't need that, so we can
No,
cross that off.
it's just standard height.
All right, good.
Okay. And
The
then,
existing garage is 8 foot sidewalls.
all right, and then the second variance, there's 1 foot needed on that?
Is that number of vehicles, that second variance?
Second variance, you have 2 vehicles in a 2.5-car garage at this point. From what I pulled in your drive, I knew who you were and where you lived.
Okay,
And you want to build an additionals, which would be a 3-car garage going to the left.
right. I wasn't going to plan on using it as, I wasn't even going to put a garage door in it, just for storage space for,
So you want to extend it to 3,
Yeah.
okay. Because it's 2.5 cars now, so you'd be going to a 3-car, and we allow 2-car garages on those properties. You have a 2.5, it's not that big a deal. Because that man door side could be considered a whatever, okay?
right.
So you're not going to have an entrance with a garage door
No,
when we went behind your house. I was there Saturday or Sunday. I
no,
forget what.
no garage doors at all.
Okay, so it's just an addition.
Okay, so is the variance needed as to the,
Well, so we only allow a 2-car garage.
I understand that, but
Yeah, so
I
I
mean,
don't know
what's
what you think.
printed on the application here says existing 2, proposed 2, variance 1.
So would we need that?
So the proposed is 3, right? Okay. So we need the variance to allow 1 more
Right.
vehicle. Okay. And then we have a square footage variance, which is required based upon the size of the house and the present buildings or accessory properties. So are there questions from the board as far as the proposal?
Well, the first variance we don't have to give because.
Right, I've crossed that out.
Second one is the size of the garage. And the third one's the square footage one. So are you going to separate those variances? Okay, well, let's do it that way.
All right,
Unless he had any notes, anybody write from the neighbors, that would be the armory or the building department now.
okay.
No.
And I didn't have anything from any of the public opposed or in support, so, all right. So as to the, actually now the first variance, it was second on the application, I'll entertain a motion to grant the variance, so it's 3 rather than, Larry?
Before that, I have a question for Bob. As
Okay.
a neighbor of his at the rack, does the city have any objections?
We do not.
That made things real easy.
Okay.
I want to hear that you did.
Are there other questions or anything needs to be raised by the board?
Just to clarify, the extra space is going to be for storage?
Yeah, just
okay.
for me to store my tools and stuff.
But you're going to add, Chuck, you're going to add on it aesthetically, right? So it's going to match your other one, like the
Yes,
house and all
yes.
that, because that all matches.
It's all, this vinyl siding is gonna be the
Yeah, I
exact
like that.
same.
That'll look nice. I liked it.
Other questions or comments from the board?
Yeah. So would you be like opening up with the part that you're extending, that wall that's there now? Will you be opening that up or just putting a door? to get you-
I'm gonna put 2 passageways through.
Okay,
I'll probably put like a sliding barn door, just to
got it.
separate it.
Okay, very good.
Other questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion to grant the first variance, which is the 2 existing to propose 3 for a variance of 1. Okay, so Larry first and Ken second, thank you. Any other discussion or questions? Those in favor of the motion, I'll need a roll call.
Roll call.
Okay. Mr. Slenius?
Yes.
Mr. Porcase?
Yes.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes?
Mr. Magnich?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have, because of the requirements under 1278-10C, you're asking us to give you a 118 square foot variance based upon the principal building and the building that's there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are there questions from the board on that? Bob, you did the calculations on this, right?
Correct.
Questions from the board?
Is that proposed for the 480? I understand that's adding on to the existing, but wouldn't the proposed be existing plus the 480? Or am I?
No, I think you're,
So that the
The
garage
sum of the
is,
two.
Yeah, the sum of the two would be the proposed, the actual proposed, correct?
Yeah. There probably should be a plus sign on the 480.
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't
Yes,
think they do
sure.
a plus sign. I don't think I ever saw one of those.
questions then? Do we have that cleared up for everybody?
I think so. Just when I was looking at the application, I'm like, okay.
I gave up,
However you put it, just so I'm understanding the
yeah,
numbers.
I gave up math when I got to algebra, so I'm with you, Clark. All right, I need a roll, is there a motion to accept the variance? Larry, second?
I'll second that.
Clark, thank you. Roll call, please.
All right. Mr. Slenius?
Yes.
Mr. Magnich?
Yes.
Mr. Porcase?
Yes.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes. Okay, we're set to go, Chuck.
Very well, thank you very much for your time.
Good-looking property.
Thank you very much. We try to maintain it.
Yep.
It looked all right.
There's a lot less of that going on, as you can see around there.
Yeah. Well, stay the course.
Thank you all.
Yep, thank you.
Stay thirsty, my friend.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is Portage Mental Health and, it's actually Coleman Health, but the two facilities down there, the two buildings, right?
Vincent does.
Okay. And
Understand this.
I'm going to let you do the explaining, but I'll swear you in first if you'll raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Could you state your name and who you're representing tonight?
Yep, my name is Justin Gleason. I'm an architect with Plus Detail, here tonight representing Coleman Health Services. In the audience is also Chief Officer of Portage Behavioral Health, Bill Russell from Coleman Health Services.
You want to explain what's being proposed here? You gave us a pretty full packet on lot splits, reciprocal easements, deeds, et cetera, so if you'll walk us through this, please.
Yep, so currently there's, Coleman Health Services owns one lot that has two parcels on it. There are also technically two buildings on that parcel, on those two parcels. Each building, it splits both parcels. One of those buildings is 3920. That's where they perform their outpatient services. The other building, commonly known as Sue Hetrick, is 3922, where they have their access services. We recently just put an addition onto the Sue Hetrick building, and I'm sure some of you have seen that new building. It's just about wrapped up. Coleman Health Services recently purchased the property from the Mental Health Board of Portage County. Now that they own it, they'd like to split those parcels into the proposed Lot A and Lot B so that each building, 3920 and 3922, is on its own property. So that is what we're proposing. You can see in the proposed lot split that shows Lot A and Lot B, to get to meet all of the zoning setbacks for side yard and rear yard, by drawing our line between the two buildings, we can't get in full compliance. So we're here tonight requesting a variance for our side and rear yard setbacks between the two buildings.
Okay.
In the package we submitted the draft deed. I know from initial conversations with Bob at the city, that one of the city's concerns is in the future, if a different owner were to come in here and buy one of these properties, how would we handle utilities, parking, and access to the sites? So the draft deed represents some blanket easements, which give both properties access to the other site to maintain utilities, access to the other site for access onto the properties, and shared parking between the two properties as well.
Okay, so that's what all the reciprocal easements are about then?
Correct. As it stands right now, the utilities are running all over both parcels. There's no easements in place that would protect the sale or anything like that. So we're trying to enhance the situation that's existing.
And generally, I would, with my zoning review, I would state what variances are needed at the rear or the side or the front. This is so abnormal that my review just states varies. So I would like you to consider it as one variance as it's submitted versus trying to isolate this corner or that side, that turn, that sort of thing.
Most complicated one I've ever seen.
Me too. Yes, me too. One of the items that we consider from the building department is setback to the property line. In the fire code, there's a certain setback. In this case, both buildings are sprinklered, and they actually, the buildings are built of masonry, so then it has a fire resistance. So the setbacks are met with regard to the fire code, with the way that's submitted. They're close in one dimension, but they do they meet the code.
Why are you, Tim, can we ask questions now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, why are you doing this now if this isn't even completed?
The
timeline-wise? Why?
The buildings are completed. We have our certificate of occupancy on the addition. The Sue Hetrick is been operating and never closed, and 3920, the outpatient building, is already there as well.
And as you know, during the meeting before this, I was sitting near you.
Sure.
From a tax standpoint, I know you mentioned you're not an accountant, or, in that sense.
I'm not a lawyer.
But
right.
from, or an attorney, right?
Right.
Either one, just a real good architect to come up with this. Why, there's a tax, and I gotta check with somebody about this, one of us will, that you can get like a $250,000 tax break as an LLC or corporation. If they split this, it'd be two corporations, and you get a $500,000 tax break. And you may not be familiar with that, but I am, okay? That's one concern. The second concern is when they talked about insurance, the one outpatient clinic would be different than the inpatient clinic. You see what I mean? Their insurance variation. So even though they're two separate entities on one property, they aren't really the same entity. They're separate entities. So I think it might have additional expense. And I don't want the city to go too much. Third thing, I didn't write it down. I don't want the city to go too much expense, say, if there were an electric problem or something with these utilities being shared. It's like a shared driveway. I built a cottage on a little lake not too far from here, and I didn't want to have that obligation where we're sharing the driveway, so to speak. You're somewhat doing that with the utilities.
That's all an existing condition, though.
I think it could lead to a problem.
That's where this reciprocal easement comes into play. That's what the requirement was. So if they ever do sell one of these buildings, they have to share the utilities.
Who's doing the cost of splitting them up?
Well, that's between their lawyers.
Right. Sounds complicated.
I agree, but
And when I looked at those buildings, I don't know why they built them that way. I don't know if you were the architect.
I
on that
was
or
not.
That's very good that you told me you were not, because that was one of the most screwed up things I've ever seen in my life.
I was not around where I was.
And you want to take that position, trust me.
In 2003, when Sue Hetrick was built, I wasn't involved with that.
Well, I think that's a good thing,
the
and I'm
property,
proud of you.
I agree.
Okay.
The property likely should have been split at that time, and
No kidding.
And then you all could have enforced setbacks and things like that, and these buildings wouldn't be so close together.
It's just, I drove in there, and it's like a maze. It was crazy.
It was difficult to fit the addition in there and to be code compliant and get all of this to work as is.
Well, I built a medical building up in Hudson. It's 55 Atterbury Boulevard, right off 303. And Hudson's pretty tough to deal with occasionally. And that's one of the reasons my practice is not up there, okay? And I never saw anything like this. If you'd have put that in Hudson, you don't want to deal with them. And my friend's the chairman of the council up there, president. So I never saw anything like that.
Well,
So, just a comment on the utilities, and I hear your concern.
I've got a few concerns.
Yeah,
And it's
but
not
just-
your problem.
No, I know, but in regard to the utilities, if we don't split these lots and cover this in the deed, and somebody, in 50 years, Coleman were to sell this property to, just one of them, to somebody else, there's then nothing in place saying whose responsibility is each utility.
Some of these things here sold more than 50 years from now, too. It could be next year, next summer, 2 o'clock for all I
Yeah,
know.
and
again, you're not responsible.
no, I know, but, so, I forgot this information in the first meeting, but Bill and I were talking about it in between. The addition that we put on to Sue Hetrick was funded from state and ARPA dollars, which means that land is encumbered, which means that Coleman has committed contractually that they will be here for the next, I believe, 30 years, operating out of that facility. They're not allowed to stop based off of that
Is it
contract.
30 years for sure? Because I have a friend that's tied up with Coleman, and they didn't tell me that when I asked them.
I believe it's 30 years. Bill thinks
I don't
it's
know, I'd have to
40.
see it.
I don't know if it's all.
I don't know what formally I need to do to be able to speak.
but why don't you come to the podium? We'll have both of you there.
That was the ace in the hole.
I'll swear
I
you in,
didn't
and then
tell
both of you can talk and respond to questions from the board. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Could you state your name and your position relative to
Bill
this?
Russell, I'm the Chief Officer of Reported Behavioral Health with Coleman Health Services.
Okay,
So I was texting with our CEO as well in between meetings. The Ohio Department of Behavioral Health's capital funding carries a 20-year requirement to maintain services. The ARPA funding that we receive requires a 10-year. So there's a minimum of 20-year requirement to continue this operation without change.
But you could still close it down and sell it.
I don't
Privately,
think
you
they
could.
can with the funding.
I don't know, I'm not trying to, I'm just glad you weren't the architect. I'm proud of you. That's it, I'm done with my line of questioning.
so, Bob, a question for you, where you put varies, and then we've got the minimum rear yard depth and the minimum side yard depth. When you're indicating, when you're indicating varies, I want to know exactly what we're voting on. So what are we voting on?
Okay.
Is that a loaded question, or?
No, I understand. I would like Board of Zoning Appeals to consider the line as shown between the two buildings as it's drawn, knowing there may be a 3-foot at one line and a 6-foot variance request at another line. So instead of trying to explain every single line and every single setback, my review was the fact that they vary. So again, I would recommend Board of Zoning Appeals consider the line as it's drawn, and should the board agree to approve, consider it as it's drawn.
Okay,
Hopefully that's clear.
all right.
That's all right.
It's just hard to disseminate each angle and each line, each corner of each building.
Would it make sense to simply attach the supporting document to the variance
Yes,
and vote it that way?
yes,
Okay,
perfect.
okay.
I would agree to that, and I understand what you're trying to do, but as far as the future sale and the real estate development board, whoever buys it, that's between business and your real estate deal, how you draw that up. It has no, to me, I don't think that has any bearing on what we're trying to do. I agree with what Bob said, though.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, just utilities and setbacks and easements and all that, that's settled with the real estate deal, right? That wouldn't be settled here.
I agree. The city had made comment when we first approached them that Coleman would like to do this, that their concern would be how are utilities and such handled for those properties. So we went ahead and prepared for that accordingly. And that's why that information was submitted.
Yeah, and I was put in a position a couple years ago with the GE buildings. The GE warehouse on Lover's Lane was built before the factory was built on Chestnut Street. They continued the sanitary sewer and tied in to Lover's Lane. Those two parcels were split and LG was built. So there's 3 buildings tied into one sanitary lateral. They asked me to intervene and try to help with easements. In the end, they were asking the city to buy an easement off of the lower building. And in the end, it didn't work out. Now, in same thing I expect would happen here in the future. If the two aren't cooperating, they're gonna call the city, ask the city for help. And I wanna be able to say there's a document in place. The city should not incur costs.
Okay, but that relates back to the probability of a future
Absolutely.
they would draw that into.
Yeah. Well, then that's the document you have already is addressing that. And that would be the requirement that has to run with both parcels.
Larry, you've got a question, comment?
All these easements are marked proposed. When, are they effective or when do they become effective?
The deed is written up based off of the lot split occurring. So we can't memorialize the deed unless this is approved. So if we were to get
But
approval.
it's not automatic, you're gonna have to
No.
take other actions to enforce the easements?
The paperwork's all there. I believe that if the lots are split, then we just have to memorialize that deed with the city. I think that's how that works.
Yes, so Planning Commission heard the proposal. Because it's an irregular lot split, I cannot just approve this and sign it as the plating commissioner. That Planning Commission has empowered me to be. So Planning Commission has to agree and allow me to sign this lot split. Now, variances are needed, so if BZA grants permission, their next step, they would have Planning Commission's approval, BZA's approval. Their next step would be to submit the plat to me for signature for the lot split. Part of that lot split will state there are the division of utility, or the declaration of utility, what did we call that again? That formal, that'll be referenced on the plat.
Yeah.
At that point, these legal descriptions will also be accompanied by the plat and then be recorded at the courthouse, not the courthouse, the recorder's office. That ties all that stuff together. So I'll be the one reviewing the plat, signing the plat. I'll record Planning Commission approved, BZA approved on that plat that goes to the recorder's office permanently. And also verify that I'm getting to it, I want to call it the right thing, declaration of reciprocal easements will be referenced on this also.
So that would be like if they put an entrance off Loomis Lane. Goes back to that dirt parking lot. They have this dirt parking lot back here. Would they want an entrance from that, or would we be approving that?
3922 has a
already-
dirt driveway, not a paved driveway.
Right, but that's already been approved through Planning Commission when they built the new project. That was part of the site plan.
I didn't see that.
If I may, I can speak on the access drive. So the parking lot behind the building's all paved. The access drive is currently gravel.
Right.
Part of our occupancy permit, part of our building department, commercial building permit approval with the fire department was that Coleman has to maintain that gravel drive. Coleman's intention is to pave that, and we're working right now with a grant, and I have the pricing, and we're pretty close to actually going out for bid to get that asphalt drive, or excuse me, to get that gravel drive painted, or paved, excuse me. But even if they say the grant didn't work out and we weren't able to pave it at the moment, our approvals early on were contingent on Coleman maintaining that and plowing it so that the fire department had access down that gravel drive in the case of an emergency. They can't just abandon it.
Pretty bumpy.
It was a gravel drive for construction vehicles, so I'm sure it got torn up.
Don't take your Mercedes convertible down there.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, are there questions? Other questions or comments?
Questions?
No other questions? I will entertain a motion to grant the variances consistent with the supporting documentation in the application for the variance, all the supporting documentation. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll second
Okay, well, I need a first. Should I see somebody first? Okay, so Ken, second?
I'll second.
Clark, second. Further comment by the board? Those in favor of the motion, roll call, please.
Mr. Porcase? Yes. Okay. Mr. Magditch?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Dr. Miller?
I'm going to abstain.
All right, and Mr. Selenius?
Yes.
And Mr. Thomas?
Yes. Okay, it's approved, and we're hoping that this packet of paper doesn't get multiplied 6, 7 times before you're done with the project.
I'm hoping as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is there any new business? Nope, okay, all right. So next meeting will be April sometime. April 28th, okay.
What do we have on the horizon? Anything?
Oh, yes. Your neighbor,
Yes, okay. I was wondering.
if he submits, it'll be your
Okay.
neighbor.
Okay.
Which we assume that he will.
Yes. Now, will you guys notify me on that first, and then should I respond, or should I just draw something up proactively now? Because I know you notify the neighbors. Okay, okay.
You could abstain too if you want to.
Yeah,
At that point.
I'm gonna
support
write
it
a
in
letter of
writing?
support, but I will be abstaining during the vote.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Larry, second on that? Anybody?
Second.
Clerk? Okay, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign.
I think that was good the way you did that, Bob. I think it was good, Tim, the way you put that in there.
Yeah, I just think, I'd like to have some parameters, you know,
And that's
some
why I
boundaries.
abstained to give us an out.